Volume check.
What's that? Mike's hot? We'll wait a minute. Yeah, I always do it. It's a 7 o'clock start. Usually 7 o'clock. Yeah, yeah. And I will keep it close. No, you gotta tell the story. Tell them, man. I'm not telling the story. No, I got something to add in. I'm not making the story. Not doing the story. Not doing the story.
Is that for the next one?
Amazing. I like the story.
I was gonna reference it. Oh yeah, no, I was. Yeah.
Oh no.
I had my joke ready too. So I was gonna be like, hey, I saw him call like 3 or 4 times on Thursday alone.
Hey, you remember the story? Yeah. No, hold back on that. I didn't save the story for another one. We'll save it.
No, it's all good. I don't have to be quick.
It's the reason for poem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what's interesting is that this poem, I'm not originally about it. I thought it was read at his funeral.
I was in the chapel where he was asking me. These big kids did it one of them all. Supposedly incorruptible heart, so his heart's like supposedly still intact, and it's still there, like you can't see it, it's like in a glass case, but it's like there. And I'm like, well, how do you know it's still encrypted? Like, when's the last time somebody checked on it? No, yeah, it was kind of classic.
I remember
He was supposed to be yes.
go.
Do we have 7 o'clock?
Well, what's 7:03? I don't know. I don't want to hold them up. The Browns had a preseason game. The Browns had a preseason game. I can't wait to watch that.
Okay, we'll start in about a minute or so. We got some families yet coming in from the parking lot, so keep conversing, relax. We'll start shortly. Okay. Being mindful of the time, wanting to start as close to on time as possible, we'll begin the program. Now. I'm very excited to welcome you. We've had a lively couple days here at Carmel Catholic High School. We started yesterday, and you'll hear about this, I'm sure. We had the sophomore, junior, senior orientation just yesterday, and then the freshman orientation today. Lots of action. The school building is alive after a long summer of it being quiet. Believe it or not, we want there to be noise in the halls once more. So to have your students in the halls, it's refreshing, it's exciting, it's exhilarating. and it's just what we're all about here at Carmel Catholic. My name is Brian Stith, and I am the Chief Enrollment and Advancement Officer. I'm an alum. I was here in the late 90s, and I've been here. This is now my 16th year here, and I'm going to open tonight's program with prayer, and then I'm just going to leave you with a few words and some thoughts. But we'll start, as we start all things here at Carmel Catholic, and this is a prayer that's very special to me. Like I said, I've been doing this 16 years, and this is a prayer poem for Archbishop Oscar Romero. It's called A Step Along the Way. It's a beautiful thing, and I want you to listen to the words I'm saying. If you've heard it before, you know it, and maybe you can apply it to the start of this year and see who's playing the different roles. And if you can't, I'll make it really easy for you at the end. I'll kind of share with you my perspective and how I see this prayer playing out real world here at Carmel Catholic. So in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. It helps now and then to step back and take the long view. The kingdom is not only beyond our efforts, it is even beyond our vision. We accomplish in our lifetime only a tiny fraction of the magnificent enterprise that is God's work. Nothing we do is complete, which is a way of saying that the kingdom always lies beyond us. No statement says all that could be said. No prayer fully expresses our faith. No confession brings perfection. No pastoral visit brings wholeness. No program accomplishes the church's mission. No set of goals and objectives includes everything. That is what we are about. We plant the seeds that one day will grow. We water the seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces far beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything, and there is a sense of liberation in realizing that. This enables us to do something, and to do it very well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for the Lord's grace to enter and do the rest. We may never see the end results, but that is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders, ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future not our own. Amen. In the name of the Father, and Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Lady of Mount Carmel, pray for us. For those of you who are familiar with Carmel Catholic, that's how we end prayers. And this prayer is very special. It's a step along the way. If you couldn't figure it out, your children, they're the seeds. They're going to gain the nourishment. They're going to get the support. They're going to get every bit of encouragement and resource necessary to grow. They started it. They have a tremendous foundation that you provided them throughout their lives and to this point. And at Carmel Catholic, we pride ourselves on really being an extension of your household. What you value, faith, academics, success, you name it. When they leave your house and come into this space, you know that they're going to be supported in a way that aligns with your home values, and that at Carmel Catholic, they're getting more than just an academic education. It goes well beyond that. I want to see just a raise of hands. How many of you are new to Carmel Catholic? Just a raise of hands. Brand new to Carmel Catholic. Okay, look around. See each other. These are faces that you're going to come across over the next 4 years. I also want you, if you can pay attention, raise your hands once more if you're new. Look around and see the people who don't have their hands raised. They've been there before. They've done it. They've got wisdom to share with you. These are important connections to make. Carmel is a community. We care for one another. We take care of one another. And it's not just limited to our student population. It's not just all the time, energy, and effort goes to them and building community among them. It's building community with our parent community as well. Making connections, making bonds. Families, if you have one child, you're here for 4 years. Families, if you're here and you've got 2 or 3 children, you may be here 8 years, 12 years. I've had families here as long as 20 years. This is a really special place. This is a community founded on faith, common values. People choose to be a part of it. It is a very special place to be. And a step along the way. You've taken many individual steps to get to this point. I can't tell you how many walks of life are here present in this room. Your students have heard this. You probably heard it from me before. We've got 4 different counties represented. In our freshman class alone, there's absolutely over 50 different junior highs represented. We've got kids coming from private schools, private Catholic schools, public schools, charter schools, you name it, they're coming from everywhere. And they represent every walk of life. There's a lot of diversity within the student population. And you guys have all gotten to this point, and you've taken steps. And Carmel is the next step with your child in this journey. Not only am I an alum, but just recently, and I got to get used to weaving this into my speech, my daughter just graduated in May, and we just took our big step. And it was a crazy step because it occurred during COVID. And if you had asked me, if I thought my daughter in a short 4-year period of time with COVID impacting her education, would she be ready to go off to college and be successful? I will admit to you, I was exceptionally nervous. Even up until 18 months ago, I was exceptionally nervous. This is an exceptional place. It's a beautiful place. Growth happens rapidly. But what I want you to come out of this night with knowing is that no matter what challenges you endure or face over the next 4 years, you have a support system here to take that next step with you. That you're not in it alone. And when you feel alone, reach out because we're there for you. You've got numbers, you've got contacts, we're there for you. So that support it's in place. This step will be the length of a blink of an eye. You're here today, and I can assure you, and it's scary, because as I look at the youth coming in, as I meet these students in 7th grade, 8th grade, I see these baby faces. I see them coming in as 9th grade, and then I see them walk across the stage of graduation, and they're young adults, and they're ready to start taking on some independence. It is a period of time of rapid growth. But that step right now that you're about to take, it happens very quick. This is your first time taking that step. And we're going to support you through it. We've seen it happen year in, year out since 1962. We don't exist by chance here. This is over 60 years of brewing some really great stuff. And we're here to help guide and counsel and support you and your student and your family throughout the journey. You're a Corsair now. You're not going to hear me speak much more, not just tonight, but in the future, because the reality is my job, my role at Carmel Catholic is to welcome you into Carmel Catholic. But you're going to meet some new individuals here tonight that over the next 4 years you're going to build relationships with. Your son, your daughter may build relationships with these individuals. You're a part of the Carmel Catholic community, and I wanted to say thank you, and I'm looking forward to having a very successful next 4 years. So thank you, and our next speaker is Dr. Brad Bonham with a welcome.
Thank you, Brian. Great words. My name is Brad Bonham. I'm the president of Carmel Catholic High School, and it's an exciting time. Whether this is your first child going through Carmel or your last one, the start of the school year is always a very special time, and it comes with a lot of excitement, a little bit of anxiety too, obviously. The first day is a lot of nerves and jitters for new students coming in, as well as parents too. The one thing, and Brian articulated this quite well, but what's really important, and I use this quite a bit, is that we want every student at Carmel Catholic to feel valued, feel significant, and feel loved as they go through the next 4 years here. And that's done on purpose. That's part of our culture. That's who we are as a community, that every student feels valued, significant, and loved as they go through. So what's really important to understand and realize is that your son or daughter, there's a lot of new things that are going on, a lot of things that'll happen, is that, there's going to be some ups and there's going to be a few downs, but through the whole process as they go through for the next 4 years, we want more ups than anything. The one thing that, and I can say this too, is I'm a current parent as well. I have a junior that's here, and you'll hear this quite a bit. A lot of parents, a lot of administrators have children here. but it's always a little nervous and a little scary too, from a parent's perspective, of when things may happen going through. And what I want to communicate to all of you is I want you to reach out. If there's ever any issue, if there's anything that happens going through, you know, a lot of times parents are like, well, I don't want that stigma, or I don't want to jump in too quickly. But we're here as partners through this whole process, through this next 4 years. So you're going to hear lots of stories when your son or daughter comes back. You're going to have a lot of exciting things that will happen. And there may be some challenges and difficulties that will take place. Look upon us as partners because we care. We really, really care. We want your son and daughter to do well and have a positive experience. So look upon us as partners. Don't hold back. Don't have any trepidation about reaching out to us, because that's what we're here for. That's our role. That's our responsibility, to work with all of you and to be partners through this whole process. I want to say thank you for entrusting your son or daughter for the next 4 years at Carmel Catholic. We're going to give everything that we have to make the student experience the best it can possibly be. So God bless every one of you, and have a great next 4 years. Thank you again.
All right, good evening, everybody. We like to match the face to the name game here, so if you can't tell already, I'm the guy in the bottom there. My name is Mr. Huther, and I have the distinct pleasure of being the principal here at Carmel Catholic. And I want to welcome you, as both Dr. Bonham and Mr. Stith have done. Tonight is our new family night. You get some extra special attention because we know that so many of you are brand new to the Carmel community. And I would say of our, roughly 300 freshmen, typically about half, maybe less, might be familiar with the community in some way, might have an older child that went through. And even though that may have happened, every year we do things a little different. We're adding new things. And we just want to make sure that you all are extremely informed about what we do and how we do it. So this evening is really designed to bring our new families in so that you know the faces and so that you have some baseline information to get you started. We want to get you through the first few weeks. Then we have our big back to school night where this room will be absolutely packed with people. You want to get here early for that night if you want to get a seat, and it's one of the only events where the front row is guaranteed to be full, just because we're gonna be overflowing with people. So it continues with back to school night, and then we have a number of other events that we do for our families and for our parents, because that, as Dr. Bonham said, this is a vital partnership. And just think about it. I know you've had your children all summer long. Anybody sick of them yet? Ready to send them off to school? Okay, a few hands. But you're handing them over to us for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. That may be a little much, but if they're participating in a sport or an activity, if they're here on Friday nights for our events, if they're coming to dances, if we could calculate the amount of hours that you have them or we have them, it's most of their waking hours, right? And we know teenagers do not get enough sleep. They don't get nearly as much sleep as they need to get. So really, all those waking moments, they're with us. Why wouldn't we partner and communicate and be on the same page? As Mr. Stith said, we know that you're here because of shared values, but let's truly partner through this, because we see your kids together all the time. The more we can communicate, the better we can do. And so it really does start here this evening. You're going to hear a lot about how we communicate and how you can best leverage the support systems for your new students. Because again, knowing where to go, knowing who to ask, sometimes that's half the battle. And just this morning, I had all of your students in this very room right here in front of me, and I told them that very sincerely, this is one of my, and I speak for a lot of other people, this is one of our favorite times of the year. Honestly, right now, and graduation night. And not just because we're ready for summer, we're tired of the kids, it's because they really bookend what we do. Now is when we see all the freshmen coming to us. And we really do imagine just everything that's going to happen between now and when they're at that graduation. Because it's one of us that's always handing them that diploma. And believe it or not, we're a perfectly sized school if you ask me, but we really do get to know all our students as individuals. We really do imagine all the accomplishments that they're going to have, all of the things we're going to celebrate together as a community, how we're going to pick up our community members who are struggling, who need it. Just imagine the possibilities. You may know what your children are good at already, but a lot of you have children who have no clue what their gifts are yet because they've all got them. And we're going to draw those gifts out. Whether they're performing on this stage, whether they're on one of our fields, whether they're in a sport, a club, an activity, whether it's in the classroom, so much is going to happen between now and graduation that it's really exciting to imagine what it could be. And it's not just exciting, though, it's work. I mean, we really do put a lot of work into it to ensure that we have the structures in the program to bring all that out in our students. So it really is an exciting time. Whether you're nervous, whether you're anxious, whether you're really truly ready to get this journey, this adventure started, I hope you know just how excited we are by everything that is to come. When I had your students here this morning, I told them 3 things. So I keep it really simple. And I'm going to talk about this here in a bit, but an important role you play as parents is to ask a lot of questions. Some of you may have talkative children. Some of you may have children that don't want to talk at all, right? So ask a lot of questions. One of your first questions should be, hey, what did Mr. Uther talk about? What were the 3 things, the 3 pieces of advice he gave you? They should remember because it's very simple. First, it was to get involved. Research backs this up without a doubt. The more a student is involved, the better that student will do. Within reason, right? So 1 to 2 activities. I say shoot for a major and a minor activity because it will allow them to meet new people, to have a support system, to express themselves, to get up and out of the classroom, to get active. So really, really push and motivate your student to get involved. A lot of them know what they want to do already. And some of them may be out there on the fields practicing right now, but really encourage them to get involved because we have so much to offer. It can actually be a little overwhelming for our students. We'll have an activities fair, more on that later, but get involved. There's no substitute for that. 2, I told them to ask for help. And that same applies to you, that same piece of advice. We're friendly people here, most of us. That was a joke. We're friendly people. So ask for help. If you don't know who to ask for help, email me, right? You're going to meet a lot of other people you can email, but anyone you email, we'll make sure that you get your question, your query gets to the right person. But encourage your students to ask for help because at times they're going to be keeping things in that you may not even know about. So really encourage them to ask for help. And then 3rd, be nice. It's the easiest, the simplest piece of advice. We have a great culture here at Carmel, a very friendly culture. I told the students the example I use, because I've seen it here countless times, is when a student drops their books in a hallway. It's not 1 or 2 people that immediately stop to help them pick their books up. It's usually 5 or 6 other kids fighting over who can help this student pick their books up. We have a really nice culture. And so typically we don't have issues with students being nice during the school day. It's usually outside of school hours over social media, etc. But we want them to be nice, and we're going to work with them on really how to do that, how to draw that out of everyone. So that was my message to the students. My message to you is a little more than just that. But those 3 things still apply, except you don't have to be nice to your kids if you don't want to because they're your kids. So what can you do to support your students? First, be their cheerleader, right? They need that from you. They need to know that somebody's in their corner, that they're encouraging them to do whatever they need to do. You know, Dr. Bonham said we're gonna shower our students with love, and we're gonna make sure their voice is heard. We're gonna challenge them too, though. Appropriate challenges in a loving environment, that's where growth really occurs. But it helps if you're there cheerleading as well. 2, ask questions. So important. How was your day? What did you learn? Keep asking questions until you can draw out the information that you need. Just ask a lot of questions. As I mentioned, encourage their participation. Ask them about clubs, activities. See if they're paying attention to the morning announcements. And all of this stuff you'll have access to as well. You can watch our morning announcements every single day. You'll be able to see the same thing they're seeing every morning. You'll get the weekly newsletters every Wednesday. You have access to a lot of information on the Veracross portals, which Mr. Blazik will talk to you about here a little later tonight. But it's super important that you stay informed. So that's my last piece of advice, is to stay as informed as possible. Otherwise, our culture's strong. Your students are going to get swept up in it really quickly. You're going to get swept up in it really quickly. So just allow that magic to happen. Participate in as much as you can. Stay tuned in as much as you can. Know that we truly are partners. Work with us. Ask us questions. And the experience will really be a positive one for all of you. So welcome to Carmel Catholic. Our next speaker, someone who's been here quite some time. She's an alumna of Carmel, so she went here herself. She has 2 children who graduated, 1 more ready to graduate after this year, and she's just one of the smartest and nicest people I've ever met. So help me welcome Mrs. Burkhalter to the podium.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Good to see you. Dr. Bonham and Mr. Huther are correct. We have been anxiously awaiting our new families and our new students, and we were so glad to see them in the building today. As Mr. Huther mentioned, I do have 3 children, and all 3 have experienced a freshman orientation. And if your student was anything like mine, when you first saw your student this afternoon, after the day, you probably got the same response that I got. How was your day? It was good. It was fine. I'm tired. It was okay. We did a lot. No detail, no nothing. Well, I am happy to shed a little bit of light on what happened with your students today. We kept them very busy. They're probably tired at home. They're probably napping. When you get home, they're going to be tired. They're going to be asleep. And we'll run them ragged tomorrow as well. Started at 8. They went to their lockers. They went to their advisory rooms. They learned about their schedule and how to read our crazy schedule. I'll bring you through that in a minute. They met their teachers. They did safety drills, bus drills. They met with the deans for about 45 minutes. They learned about Christian service, and they met as a class over and over again, socially and in prayer, and it was just a wonderful day. So I'm sure they're going to be exhausted. But one of the things that we focused on is our rotation schedule. I'll magnify this in a second. So the good thing is you don't really have to know the ins and outs of the schedule. Your student will learn it. We kept on saying that over and over again today. Be patient, give yourself time, ask for help, you'll figure it out. So here's a magnified look. You're looking at A, B, and C days. Don't worry about B2 for a while. So we have an ABC rotation. Not every class meets every day. It's a collegiate model. But when a class meets, it meets, there's a C class there. When a class meets, it meets for 65 minutes, real consistent. So if you look at the classes that meet on an A day, there's 5 classes that meet on an A day. Tomorrow starts our rotation. Tomorrow is the first day of classes. It's an A day. So only these classes will meet on your student's schedule. A, C, D, F, G. Thursday will be a B day. Those 4 classes will meet only 4. And on C days, these 5 classes will meet. If you notice, most of the periods are 65 minutes, 65 minutes, 65 minutes, but this D lunch is nearly 2 hours. We do feed your children. That period D class is extra long. Everyone in the building eats lunch during that D period. We split it up into 3 waves. Your student can tell you what waves they're eating lunch on A days and B days and C days. So they'll get it, and there's plenty of help in the hallways in the first 2 weeks of school to point kids where they need to go. They'll forget where their classrooms are. It's okay. We're not going to mark them tardy. They've got some growing pains. We'll give them time to learn the schedule. But that schedule works for us. It's really good with this advisory period. That's not a class period, but a time where we discuss wellness issues, how to succeed at Carmel, how to be a good student. It's student-led time, so you'll be sure to hear about advisory periods. Another unique element to our schedule is our seminar period. That seminar floats. That's why we have different B schedules. We go back to this one, there's a B2, there's a B3, there's a B4. That seminar period floats. Sometimes it's at the end of the day. We have a B3 on Thursday of this week. It's our first Mass. So there's our seminar period right in the middle of the day. So that seminar is a beautiful, flexible thing for us. So we get to gather as a community for pep rallies, for speakers, for Masses. But again, your student will get to know it very quickly, don't worry. And as tradition serves, we ended our day praying over your students. It's a very memorable time, a nice moment. They're all in this space with the faculty all around them, praying that they have a good, successful journey here at Carmel. It was a great day today, but I bet your kids are tired. A little bit more information, and Mr. Huther alluded to this. We are very excited to partner with you and to help your child succeed, but we do ask you to please stay connected to the school. There's ways to do this. You'll learn very shortly about the Veracross portal. Please read your email. When we send you emails, we need you to read them and stay on top of those dates and those deadlines. Weekly newsletter comes out every Wednesday. Teachers in every class will be giving out procedure sheets. It's kind of the syllabus for the class and expectations, tips on how to succeed. Those procedure sheets are coming out. In the next week, you'll be asked to sign each and every procedure sheet for each class. What happens with late work? What happens if you're absent? Where is homework posted? Very valuable information in those procedure sheets. And finally, stay in tune with the school calendar. Finally, Mr. Scott Davis wanted me to give you some tips on our cafeteria. You can set up a cafeteria account. One actually has already been made for you. All you have to do, if you're interested, this is an option, go to myschoolbucks.com, have your student's Carmel ID number ready, and you can set up an account so your student can simply grab some food, go up to the cash register, give an ID number, and funds will automatically be deducted from that food account. It can auto-replenish if you wanted to. You can also send a check with your student, but most of these accounts are attached to a credit card, but that's already waiting for you if you choose to do that. It does make the line go a little bit faster in the cafeteria if your student can just give an ID number. Okay, swipe your card and go. Okay? All right, that's all I have for now. I'll be back in a little bit. Thank you for your kind attention. I'm now going to give the microphone to our Chief Technology Officer, Mr. Brian Blasek.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. So, as Ms. Burkhalter mentioned, I'm the Chief Technology Officer here. So I just want to share a little information with you on, I don't know if you've noticed common themes. We share information here, communicate well. And so I just want to share how we communicate that information technology-wise. So one of the big things we use here is Veracross throughout the school. And so you'll often hear us mention the portal, the portal, the portal. So your student has access to their own portal, the teachers have access to their own portal, and as parents, you have access to your own portal as well. There you're going to be able to find a lot of information in this portal. We're constantly updating it, and it has all the basic information. It's going to have things such as the schedule Ms. Burkhalter showed you. But you'll also be able to find your student's schedule for that day. And if you actually want to know what class they're in at a certain time, you're able to go in the portal and actually see what class they're currently in. You can see their full schedule for the week. You can see what sports they have that week. It's going to share all that information with you. We're going to have the school calendar in there. We're going to have your own personal calendar in there of items coming up. So it's a great resource to find everything that you want there. So it was around July 22nd, we started sending out the welcome emails for the Veracross portal. Now, depending on when you accepted to school is when you would have got that email saying this is your enrollment to the portal, and you click the link to log in, create your password, and then you would be in from there. If for some reason you didn't receive that or you didn't give us an email, simply reach out to Veracross at carmelhs.org. Let us know what the issue is, and we'll be glad to get you set up from there. So once you're in the portal here, you'll see the homepage looks similar to this, and this is where you'll be able to access everything. Underneath My Children is where you would see your child there and be able to access their class schedules, the report cards at the end of the semester, things like that, as well as a quick glance at the week there. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see it says My Household. So if you never need to update any of your household information, you can go right in there, simply change it right there. You don't have to call us or anything. You change it, save it, it automatically updates all our systems. We have that for you. Right here, you'll see we have under My Children, class and reports. So as I mentioned, you'll be able to get see their class schedule from there. If you want to print it out for yourself, you can even see, like I said, currently what class they're in. If there's any reports, so things such as their transcripts, their grades for that semester, all the information will be right there under My Children. And here's an example of what a child's schedule will look like that you could print out, or you could save it as a PDF if you like, and it lists all their classes throughout the day. For each rotation, as you see there, the A day, the B day, and the C day. We also have where you can pay any of your bills here through Veracross, so student billing. You can access right there to pay your bills. And in the upper right-hand corner is messages. So if we send any messages through email, they will also be up there as well. Student attendance submission. So this is something new we started last year, and it got great reviews, so we rolled it out fully, and it's where you can submit your students' attendance. So you no longer have to call in, leave a voicemail. You can go straight to the portal. You can access it from your phone, from your laptop, from wherever. Just click on student attendance, and you're able to enter their attendance there for that day. So let's say you have a doctor's appointment. You can come right here, click on that, enter the day, the time, say if they're coming in late, arriving early, or if they're sick and they're going to be gone all day. As soon as you hit submit on that, it goes straight to our attendance office. They record it. Should they have any questions, they'll reach out to you. But otherwise, no more having to call, wait on hold, or put a voicemail and hope that they got it. So right here, just enter that information. Like I said, hit submit. We get it. You'll get a confirmation email as well. And like I said, if our attendance office has any questions, they'll reach out directly to you to confirm anything there. So it's a great way, and that should be your first stop, actually. Now, if you do need to, you still can call, but this is the best way to communicate any absences for your child. A few other things here is we have the various calendars, and you can actually subscribe to these calendars and get them put on your phone. So whether you have a Google phone or an iPhone, there's instructions there at the lower right-hand corner. They'll walk you through on how to subscribe to it, so it pops up on your phone on your if you wanted to. So you have a Google Calendar on there, instructions on there for that. I'll show you how to do that, and this way it's all on your phone too, as well as on here. Otherwise, we have the school calendar, and in the upper right-hand corner is going to be your personal calendar for your student. And then also at the top, we have a navigation bar with some optional items as well. So everything for athletics will be up there, campus ministry will be up there, additional resources, items about academics. So a lot of different information will be up there that you can access as well. Most of that's going to be in PDF format, so you can save it and print it if you choose. Otherwise, it will be there for you to reference at any time as well. And then one other thing, you may have more than one portal. So if you are an alumni here, you may have an alumni portal. If you want to access between the two different portals, all you simply have to do is click that little Roman numeral in the right-hand corner, and you'll see the different portals, and you click on the one you want to log into. By default, yours will always open to the parent portal if you do other portals, but it will always default to the parent portal for you there. Now, if you have any questions on this, you're having problems with your account, you can't get logged in, simply email us. That goes to my team, and we'll resolve it, whatever the issue might be. So whether it's, like I said, you need a password reset, you just have a question where to find something, you can't even find it on there. And even if it's something you don't know who else to contact, email us, I'll find an answer for you, direct it to the right person. Like Mr. Huther said, you know, email us, we'll get it to the right person. We're here about community and to help out, so it's not me. I'll get the right person in touch with you to answer your question. So one other thing I want to talk about is our TSI program here. So our TSI program is one of our classes we offer for the students, and what they do is they actually handle our Chromebooks for the other students. So it's students working with students. So the Chromebooks that they received, they'll work with the TSI program anytime they have an issue here. So what happens is they're allowed to go either advisory, before school, or after school to go seek assistance there. So that should be their first stop should they have any issues. So whether it's they forgot their password, volume's not working on their Chromebook, sound's not working on it, they need to go to TSI, drop it off. We'll give them a loaner. If we can't fix it right there on the spot, we'll give them a loaner that they can take home so we get it fixed. Once it's fixed, we'll reach back out to them in their advisory class and swap them out for there. That should always be their first stop there. So if they're ever in a panic, something about their Chromebook, simply ask them, did you go to TSI? If not, why don't you go there tomorrow during your advisory? But also another good place is just to ask another student in their advisory as well. If it's a question how to do something on the Chromebook, a lot of the kids in their advisory already know how and also could help them out as well there. But otherwise, that would be their spot to go for anything they might have. So, you know, if they're having any email issues with the Carmel email, any functionality issues with like sound or anything with the Chromebook does break for some reason. They spilled water. Just bring it over. We'll figure out how we get it fixed there. Now, if it is a screen damage, they actually break the screen, or it's excessive damage like it got ran over by a car, there may be a price to fix it. If that is the case, we will reach out to you. But for the most part, we try to get everything fixed at no cost. And, you know, to keep it as minimal as possible there. But that is a great resource. Should they have any issues, just reach directly out to there, and they can handle that. And next, we'll have Ms. Burkhalter will be doing for student services there. Thank you, everyone, and have a great year.
I'm back. I am filling in for Miss Jamie White. She is our Assistant Principal of Student Services. She is right over there with her freshman daughter. She gets to be mom tonight. There's Jamie. Otherwise, she'd be up here introducing her Student Services team. We're very proud of how full this slide is of our Student Services team. These are awesome people. They're not classroom teachers. Their sole purpose for being here is to support our diverse student population, our diverse learners, and to support you and to make sure that we have a successful partnership. So please lean on these people as much as you need, particularly these counselors. For a lot of questions you might have, your counselor, your student's counselor is going to be your first line for help, for questioning. If you pull up your child's schedule, that very colorful schedule with all the blocks, in the upper left-hand corner of your student's schedule, your counselor's name is listed there. Okay, and that's the person you can go to for really any questions you might have. Great resources here. Very proud of this team. Next up, very important lady in the house, and she is here, Kathy Weber, our nurse. There she is. She is also a new mom. She's a mom of a freshman, so she gets to be mom tonight. Thanks, Kathy. Just some information for you as far as medical forms that are needed for freshmen and or for new students. All of these forms are available on the portal under the link School Nurse. So any medication, whether it's prescription or over the counter, must be accompanied first by a permission form. Same thing with any illness or allergy action plans. Form has to be on file. And again, all of those forms are on the portal under the School Nurse tab. We love our community. We love it when our community is happy and healthy and whole, but there are certain times where you should keep your student at home. If there's a fever, anything contagious, just plain not feeling well, please keep your student home and help us keep our community safe. And again, Nurse Kathy Weber can assist you in making those decisions if the need arises. And finally, for freshmen, there are some required steps. Freshmen, you have the top list there, updated immunization records, proof of a dental exam, and then transfer students, there's some requirements as well. Again, if you have any questions, Nurse Kathy Weber will be available after tonight's program or via email. And next up is our Director of Safety and Security, Mr. Joe Kreppen.
right, so Mr. Kreppen, he referenced our deans, and sorry we have a formatting issue there, but we have Miss Shannon Lamphere and Mr. Kevin Nyland, and it's split alphabetically. So Mrs. Lamphere has A to K, I believe, and then Mr. Nyland has L to Z. So based on last name, they will have one of our friendly, smiling faces there. Our deans, they do a lot here, and they really understand the culture well. Both of them graduated from Carmel, and I believe both of them, like their first job out of Carmel, or out of college, was to come back and work for Carmel. So they're really invested, embedded in the culture here. They know Carmel, they know our students, they know the struggles of our students. When all of the freshmen were here earlier today, there was this precious moment where we had Father Christian, and we were talking about how students make mistakes. That's okay, that no one is perfect. And I said, Father Christian, right, none of us are perfect, right? And he was like, well, some of us might be. So your child may be one of those few that doesn't make any mistakes, but a lot of kids do. It's a part of growing up. This is a safe environment in which they can make those mistakes, so that we can encourage them to grow from them. But the dean's office is not just about dealing with students who make a mistake every now and then, because as they presented this morning, over 80% of our students have never had like anything other than one detention for like a name tag infraction or a dress code infraction. So think about that, over 80% of our students. We have this discipline system where you start at 1.1 and then you can you keep climbing up the ladder. You don't want to climb up the ladder, but that's how the system works. And 80% of our students are at 1.1 or 1.2, right? So they don't just want to deal with students when they're making mistakes. That wouldn't be any fun. They would miss 80% of our student population. So they work a lot on good decision making, substance use and abuse, how to treat each other kindly, how to navigate social situations. They both coach sports. They're involved in clubs and activities. So you will hear from our deans, you will see them. If your child does get, the name tag infraction or the dress code infraction, all of those kinds of discipline issues, you'll get sent notifications. Like Mr. Kreppen said, if our deans are talking to your children and it involves a discipline matter or something with consequences, you'll know. You'll be communicated with as well. You'll get an email and you'll get notification of whatever the infraction was. But you can always reach out to them. They do a lot here at Carmel, and you'll see them at the next event that I talked about here in a few weeks. But we just wanted to get their friendly faces up there because they're going to be a really good point of contact for you, just regardless. And to go back to I won't go all the way back, but on the student services page that Mrs. Burkhalter resourced, we have all those names on there. Those are also points of contact, not only for your students, but for you. So your child's counselor and your child's dean. Oftentimes those are two people that parents are getting information from more than most. Classroom teachers as well, but counselors and deans. So Mrs. Lamphere and Mr. Nyland. One of the things the deans do is they manage the student handbook. If you were able to see or check your emails before coming here, we sent an email this afternoon that referenced the student handbook quite a bit. And it's long. It's got a lot of information in there. I think it's 40, 50 pages. It's something you'll really want to review with your student. Because again, it just has information about everything. Information you may not have even known that you needed to know. So please review that student handbook. It's the newest version should be updated by the end of the week, right? So it's on there currently, last year's handbook. Few changes for this year, which we'll highlight and which we've highlighted with your students during their orientations. But check out that handbook here later this week or early next week. And again, any warnings or detention notices will be sent to you as well. So attendance, we briefly touched on that. When your child is sick, not feeling well, we do want them to stay home. It's a big pressure that our kids have. As adults, I think we have it too, where we feel like if we're sick, we just need to tough it out. Or I can't miss that quiz or that test, or I can't miss this day. But we really want to encourage them to rest whenever they're not feeling well, so that they can get back to feeling well again. They're not going to do well on a test or a quiz if they're ill anyway. So when that happens, the way to call your student in is also via the Veracross portal. So we have the voicemail attendance hotline. So the old analog way of calling in and saying, my child is sick, that's certainly okay to do. It just takes us a while to process those. Imagine on an average day, we might have 30 to 40 students out that are ill during like peak season of like flu, when it's colder outside, like January, February. Some days we'll average 80 students out due to being ill. So think about, 80 voicemails. It just takes time. So the preferred way to do this is right here. Communicated to the attendance office. Nope, I'm missing it. Via the parent portal. Sorry, parent portal attendance submission. So it's on your Veracross portal. It's a few clicks of a button. You can put a few little notes in there, and then it will update automatically in the system. So if you go into the Veracross portal, you fill that out at 8 o'clock. By 8:05, your teachers will see that your child is out sick, right? So it's just really helpful if you use that to submit any absences. But you can always call in as well, and we'll work through that as quickly as we can. If your child is sick and you don't call in, or we don't get a Veracross submission, we'll call you, right? And that's good, again, because we're partners in this whole thing. So we'll call you to make sure that you're aware that your child is not at school. Usually you are, and it's just something went awry here with reporting it. So a huge part of what we do here is our mission as well, right? Everything we do is an expression of our mission. So obviously your kids come here and they go to class, they participate in activities, but all of it is highlighted and underpinned by our mission. And so this is the team, the Mission and Campus Ministry team. You're going to have so many outlets available to develop your faith as well as your child's faith. You can do it in tandem. So there's a lot of adult events that will be hosted by our campus ministry team, and there's a lot of formation for our students, for our faculty, and for our staff as well, because it truly is a community event, a community collaboration. The Christian service is also an important component of this. All students at Carmel Catholic complete Christian service. It's a vital component of our curriculum and in shaping just really good citizens. We want all of our students to be other-oriented, to know that we all have a duty and an obligation to help those in need. And so by time a student graduates from Carmel, there's going to be 80 service hours, but we like to chunk it and break it down to 20 hours per year. So your freshmen are going to be encouraged to do 20 hours of Christian service. There's a whole web page, ton of access to various agencies and resources that can help your students complete service. But these are faces that you'll see a lot. This one, I think there's 4 or 5 of Father Christian, because you'll literally see him everywhere. He's our school chaplain. He is amazing at what he does, amazing at the ministry of presence. Miss Kurger, she deals a lot with Christian service hours and retreats. We have Miss Falstick, who also will be having a child joining us this year in the freshman class. You'll notice the same last name there, both parents of Carmel, and they're giving back to mission and ministry here, partnered, and leading all of these efforts are Miss Cammie French, our Chief Mission Officer. So again, we want you to know the faces and what they do, and you'll be hearing from some folks in campus ministry in a few weeks at our back to school night. We talked about student activities. We have a person whose one of her primary jobs is to ensure that our students are doing things and that there's a lot of things for them to do. So Mrs. Laura Budress, she could not be here this evening because she's taking one of her children back to school. But she is also an alumna of Carmel, been here a long time, and she really loves this job of making sure our students are engaged. So the activities forum is going to come up here soon, and that's when we have all of our clubs and activities represented during our lunch waves. So this is one of those periods of time where you want to really ask your student. So tell me about the activities. Have you seen anything that you might be interested in? I guarantee you there's clubs they never even knew existed that we host here. Some of them are silly. Some of them are really, more intense clubs or serious clubs, but they're all going to be on display August 21 to 31. And I know most of our students had their school portrait taken already, but it's important that we have their student IDs. All students will have one, and we want to get those pictures updated on there. So if they missed the picture days that we had over the summer, then this is going to be their last opportunity to get that picture taken. Not their last opportunity, because we do have some students who might be out that day and we make sure that they have a nice picture, but just keep that in mind. And then finally, we have a very robust athletic staff here as well. And I want to invite Mr. Nate Brill, the gentleman on the left here, up to talk about all the athletic opportunities that we have for your children. Please welcome Mr. Nate Brill.
Thank you, Jason. I'm the reason the lighting has to stay down in here tonight because of the baldness. So I know it's pretty easy to pick me out of that lineup there. But so joining me in the athletic department, Mr. Mark Pose is our Associate Athletic Director. Mrs. Sarah Doyle, our Assistant Athletic Director and Head Gymnastics Coach. And then Mr. Dan Hendricks, he's our Head Athletic Trainer. The four of us together are here to serve your student athletes. And we take that job very seriously. There's a lot of pride in our athletic department. Our mission, in part, is to pursue athletic excellence within the framework of this academic community here. And to sum that fancy statement up in one word, it's student athlete. Your students that are joining us here at Carmel will probably, statistically speaking, fall into the student athlete category at some point in their career. More than 60% of our students at Carmel are involved with athletics, and about a third of our students are involved with multiple sports during a single school year. So we're very excited. I see a lot of familiar faces out here because you've had student athletes with us here before, or you've been participating in our summer programming that's been going on since June. We had more than 1,200 campers here this summer, which was it's kind of like the temperature change. Since we've been recording, this is a record that we're very proud of, and we thank you for sending your students here with us this summer. We have more than, or nearly I should say, 800 signups already this school year for our 27 athletic programs that run from August 7th, so the start of this week, last week, all the way through right around June 5th. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in a second, but I just want to say thank you for allowing your sons and daughters to participate in our athletic programming, and we look forward to a great partnership with all of you here tonight. A little bit of basic information, and I've sent most of this out in email, but I know that some of that gets lost in the shuffle. So we do encourage you to pre-register your children for our athletic programs. So our fall sports have already taken off, but maybe you have some spring sport athletes or some athletes that are considering winter and spring sports. I ask that you please visit the parent portal. Mr. Blazek showed the athletic drop-down The athletic menu there is an option to register for a sport. If you haven't done that already, please sign your children up for whatever sports they may be interested in. There is no fee to register. There is a $240 per sport athletic fee that will be assessed only after our final rosters are set, and then we'll give you a little bit of a window of opportunity to get that paid. So maybe you have a daughter who's not sure whether she would like to do girls soccer in the spring or run track in the spring. Go ahead and register her for both. She'll receive communication then all year long from our track coach and from our girls soccer coach about off-season workouts, about open gym sessions, and that's going to allow your son or your daughter to participate with that team year-round to make sure that they have the best experience here during their introductory year. I know we have some transfers here as well. Students must have a current physical on file. That was mentioned on another slide for our new students, that there's an October 15th, I believe it said, deadline. That is not the case for athletes, so we do ask you to get that paperwork in a little bit quicker. I'll be communicating with our fall families, with our athletes who are still missing some paperwork, and I understand that you may have submitted that and you're waiting on the nurse to review your paperwork or the athletic office to review that, so we ask that you be patient with us. We always at the beginning of the year have an influx that we need to sort through, and we want to make sure that your son or daughter can get on the field or on the court as quickly as possible. These next two bullet points kind of go together, and they're regarding transportation. We do provide transportation to and from all athletic competitions. We will never ask your son or daughter to drive themselves or you to drive them to an athletic competition. We want to make sure that our students are arriving on time and safely, so we're always going to provide transportation to and from events. We ask that that your son or daughter always travel with the team to an event. However, if you would like to take your child home after an event and your child's coach has approved that, we're certainly going to allow you to do that. There is a waiver, a transportation waiver located in the parent portal in that athletics drop-down. You only need to fill it out once for the season. So if you have a child that's maybe on the girls volleyball team and you know that you're going to be taking them home after most matches, go ahead and fill out that waiver, and it will come to me. I will then forward it to the coach, and that coach will then have knowledge of your ability to take your child home after a match. It doesn't mean you have to. If there's a night you can't, maybe you don't want to drive down to Joliet Catholic and pick up your child and take them home, that's fine. They're always welcome to take our transportation back. It just gives you the ability to do that or to assign that maybe to another parent on the team so that we are always aware of who is going to be transporting your son or your daughter home from an event. Athletic communication. You've received information about the Remind program that we use to communicate through athletics. In the parent portal, in that athletics drop-down, there's a PDF with all of the Remind links for all of our teams. Feel free to join the teams and the levels that your son or your daughter is qualified for. Again, think a little bit down the road. I know winter basketball season is not here yet, but if you have a child that would like to participate in those programs, go ahead and join the Remind teams for that. Go ahead and join the girls basketball all team or the boys basketball all team, and that'll allow you to receive any communication that the coaches send out in the meantime. Some of our coaches use Remind more than others, but the only two approved forms of communication between a coach and a student athlete is school email and Remind. We want our coaches to use this system. We would like our parents and our student athletes to use this system because it's efficient, it's safe, and it allows everyone to kind of stay on the same page in terms of changes to schedules or upcoming events. So if you haven't done that already, please check out Remind and get that app downloaded onto your phone. Locker room access. This was a change for us at the sort of the tail end of last school year. We want to try and limit the amount of time our student athletes are spending in the locker room for a variety of different reasons. Mr. Kreppen was up here speaking on safety and security, and that's really the number one area. So we have limited locker room access for our student athletes to before school. There's a window of time from 6:30 to 8 a.m. when those lockers will be open. So I know our baseball team and softball team are going to be having some fall activities coming up here, and so the boys and the girls may have their bags with their bats in them. They're welcome to access the locker room from 6:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning to drop their bags off in there. They won't fit in their school lockers. We know that, but there's athletic lockers they can store them in. And then they can come after school and grab those, head out to practice, and then head home for the evening. During the school day, they are not going to be able to access those lockers. The athletic wing will be shut down and only accessible to our PE students. So just speak with your son and daughter about making sure that they get their items stored in there, and that if there's anything important they have, it stays in their school locker, because they won't be able to access that athletic locker again until after school. And then last but not least on this slide, our fitness center. We have a beautiful fitness center. I spent a lot of time when I was coaching football, traveling around to different schools, and I can tell you beyond the shadow of a doubt that we have the nicest fitness center maybe in the entire Midwest at the high school level. It's beautiful. We encourage our student athletes to use it. We also encourage our students who may not be athletes to use that space. So on any day that we have school, between the hours of 6:45 and 7:30, we will have what we call open fitness center. So if you have a child that wants to come up and receive training from our staff, we partner with Illinois Bone and Joint to provide strength and conditioning services to all of our students. That is available before school for them to use. So if you'd like to drop them off on the way to work, the locker rooms will be open. They can drop off their belongings, work out for 45 minutes, shower before they head to class, and make use of that space without having to be on a team. So we encourage you to speak with your children about using that. Athletic eligibility. This has its own slide, and I am going to send out an email with some of the details, so I'll move through this kind of quickly. But when we talk about student athlete, the crux of the student part is maintaining your eligibility during the season. At any point in time, our in-season student athletes must be passing 6 classes. The vast majority of your students will be taking 7 classes, so that allows them a little bit of wiggle room. If they're failing 1 class when they're in season, they will be allowed to continue participating with their team. However, any student athlete who is failing 1 or more classes is going to receive a little bit of extra academic support through what we call our REACH program. More details will come on that, but it is offered during lunch periods on a daily basis. And if you have a student athlete who's in season, they will be asked to attend REACH each week if they are not passing all of their classes. So they've got to be passing 6 to continue playing with their team, but anybody who's failing 1 or more is going to be asked to join our REACH program for some additional academic support. We don't want to think of eligibility as a punishment to our students. Carmel has an extremely robust support system, and this is just another element of that. We want our student athletes back on the field, but first and foremost, we want them performing well in the classroom, and so we are going to help them reach that goal and not just hold their playing time as a consequence in front of them. Eligibility reports will come out every Friday during the season, and they will impact the following week. So if you have a boys soccer player, the first eligibility report is going to be run on September 1st, and that will impact the following week, the following Monday through Sunday. So any games that occur that following week, if your son is not passing 6 classes, they would be ineligible to compete Monday through Sunday of the following week until they are passing 6 classes and they've fulfilled their academic support requirement. So we do place an emphasis on getting started, getting off on the right foot in the classroom, getting off to a fast start and not falling behind, because we don't want that first eligibility report to come out on September 1st and find that some of our athletes who have been working hard all summer suddenly are not able to participate with their team. Couple of final quick reminders here. You can visit our main website and then head to the athletics section for information on our teams. That's where you'll find all of our head coach contact information. If you have any questions about our athletic programs, anything at all, you can always feel free to reach out to our head coaches via email and start that conversation. Schedules and scores will be posted through through a website called Our School. It's kind of an athletic website that launches from our own. So you have to travel to a different website through our own to find schedules and scores for our teams. Mobile ticketing, you'll find links to our mobile ticketing partner. Carmel events are cashless. We do not accept cash at any of our athletic events. You'll find information at the end of this week about our Booster Club passes, which offer you bulk ticket information for the entire athletic season for any of our ticketed sports. And then last but not least, you'll also find a link to our sideline store where you can find athletic apparel that's for purchase, some of which your children will be able to wear here in school on Spirit Wear Fridays. Lastly, if you have questions, concerns, or feedback, just to echo Dr. Bonham and Principal Huther's statements, we are very open. If you would like to speak with myself or any of our head coaches, we encourage you to do that about any topic. If you're not sure, I know no one wants to be that parent who is reaching out about a concern that they might have. Sometimes I know you're not even sure if it's something you should be concerned about, but it's something that's weighing on you. Please reach out to us. My email is listed there. My direct office line is listed there. This is also available on the website. Feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'm more than happy to have a conversation with any of you in here about any topic regarding athletics. I did spend some time working in the admissions office with Mrs. Eppel and Mr. Stith, so I know some of our parents still reach out with questions about their other children that may be considering Carmel, and so we do have some admissions type discussions. So anything and everything, if it's a concern of yours regarding athletics or anything else, feel free to pick up the phone or send an email, and I'd be happy to speak with you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Brill. How we all doing? Thumbs up? All right, so some key phrases from tonight. And everyone can repeat this one with me, right? The Veracross Parent Portal. Let's all say it together. Veracross Parent Portal. I think that phrase came up more than anything else. You want to become familiar with the Parent Portal because it has all the information you need. Otherwise, the big theme, reach out to us. Ask for help. It's going to be a great year. This is the beginning with you all, as I mentioned. Our next big night is in 1 week, a little more than a week, August 24th. That's our back-to-school night. So we'll be in here at 6:30. Again, I'm really serious about just get here 15, 20 minutes early and you'll be able to find a nice, comfortable seat. But that's when we have the whole community back together. So from now until then, my hope is that you have the resources to find your way. And I just want to leave you with an email. I wasn't checking email while Mr. Brill was speaking. I was paying very careful attention to everything he was saying. But I just happened to glimpse down and I got this email. And I wanted to share it with you because the timing was just really impeccable. So here's the email. Mr. Huther, in our second year here at Carmel Catholic, we could not be more proud or more happy to have such a promising and high-expecting school with such great leadership. Our family cannot stop telling others and spreading the good news of our school to our community members and beyond. Thank you for making the standard higher for our children and our families. Have a beautiful school year. My hope is in 1 year, every one of you could write that email, right? So please let us know what we can do to help you. It's going to be a great year. Thanks for coming tonight, everybody.